Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a Legacy Leaders episode. Today, I'm blessed to have Abbey Spraggins from Abby's Helping Hands and Hopeful Heart. We're going to talk about a lot of different things today, but really what I want to do is give Abbey a chance to introduce herself. So, Abbey, the microphone and camera are yours. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and the story that gets you on this podcast with me today.
Hi, I'm Abby Spraggins. I founded Abby's. Oh my gosh, I forgot my own name. I found
You're good.
Abby's Helping Helping Hands, Hopeful Hearts 2 years ago. What we do is we work with local school districts and the communities throughout Northeast Ohio, and we adopt families, kids, teenagers at Christmas time, but also throughout the year. So if they face something tragic, like maybe a fire, maybe they've a parent lost a job or something. So we'll help out throughout the year as we get notified. And I've been working doing this for about over a decade now, back in 15 at my job right out of college. Shout out to the guys at ATI. They were doing it. I helped them. They loved what I did. So I took it over and I just kept it going and finally made it its own nonprofit this year or 23.
I love it. So, what got you into being a part of a nonprofit as opposed to a different path to get to do the help that you do? Why is it a nonprofit route as opposed to a for-profit business?
Well, I've always loved giving back to the community. Since I was a little kid, I've always done volunteer work, and I just feel this is a great opportunity to help those who have fallen on hard times. But I never wanted to make it so it's like a business, like it's a profit thing for me. I just want all the money raised to go back to the families.
Perfect. And what's the best way that you have right now raising money? How do you generate uh, opportunity for you to do the work that you do?
We do some smaller fundraisers. We're working on doing something soon with doing some raffle baskets. We're working with a couple local um businesses to do like maybe one of those dine to eat like Chipotle does or one of those.
Sure.
But a lot of ours is just donors. So
Okay.
we've have some businesses that have given over, some of them have been with it since I've been working with it, so a decade now, and some are newer. Well, businesses and individuals that give, and our big thing is we do donation bins during the holiday season at a lot of different local businesses. So that's a big way to get in like toys or clothing donations. And Fannie Mae's has been wonderful the last couple of years. Their people just go. I make gift tags for them and they'll pluck off and go buy like an item for like a kid or a family member on there.
That's outstanding. So, how many different families let's focus on the Christmas time. How many different families do you get a chance to help with the services and projects that you guys do?
This past year, we grew tremendously. We did 38 families, which was 167 individuals. So that ranges from kids. We have everything from newborn babies up through them graduating high school, and then we also help out like whoever take care of mom, dad, grandparents, aunt, uncle, a guardian. So we've had a multitude of that, and then we also help with the homeless teens. That's a something that people don't realize. A lot of most school districts have them. There are teens who are their home life isn't the greatest, so they have decided to leave and they'll stay with friends or sometimes in shelter and stuff like that. So that's what we work with. We give them gift cards so they can go to somewhere and eat
Hmm.
or go get things they need.
How do you get in touch with a homeless teen? Like, how do they one? How do they know you and Abby's Helping Hand, Helpful Heart? How do you know that exists? And the other part of it would be, what's your outreach like? So let's go at the idea of how would a teen get to know you exist?
Um, like finding out about us with the school districts we work with, they have
Okay.
their they have a variety of names. Most of them are on care teams, or they're their liaison for any of like the people suffering hardships, homeless teens, stuff like that. So we'll work
Would
with the care teams, and they know because they start like watching and seeing like, okay, maybe something's going on. So a lot of them know, they know a lot of their students very well at the school districts and at the individual schools.
would it be like the guidance counselors and teachers kind of make a recommendation and tell you? Okay, so
Yeah.
you have a network of schools that you work with, which is great. Um, I, I think you nailed it when you originally said not too many people know there is such a thing as homeless teens. It's a little frightening, I would imagine, being a teenager and not having a comfortable place to go, whether it's to study or just to sleep. So I give you credit and thank you for taking care of as much as you guys do to help those people. What I want to do is make sure that they know that there's resources. So if there is somebody that is in a situation like that, Abby, you're suggesting they contact either their teacher or guidance counselor and ask for help. Is that the best way to do it?
That's the best way. Or, I mean, if they happen to see this, they're welcome to reach out
Okay,
to
great.
myself, and, I will get them what they need. And they might not know. Typically, the schools are pretty open, but sometimes you don't know who to go contact at your school, and we can help because they
Okay.
also have other resources that
Well,
I
I
do
would
not.
imagine awareness is a big problem or a big situation that you're trying to overcome, right? Is there's a
Yes.
lot of I've been living in a world of obscurity because I don't know any better, right? So how do we get people to know either a situation or a condition is happening and we can help do what we can to fix it? And now that we're in that community and we know there's a situation that needs attention, how do we get the attention to those people? So this is a really good connection, and I appreciate you taking the
Yeah.
time to do that. If I was a family and I wanted to be taken care of around the Christmas or anytime there is a situation that needs your attention, how do I get in touch with you?
Best way is um my email. It's easy. It's info at Abby's Helping Hands Hopeful Hearts.org. Our website also has a way that you can go in
Okay.
and pop in, and it will give us info. Um,
Okay.
my phone number. I'm like, I get calls, texts all the time with
No,
all the
that's
everything
great.
else I do too. It's I don't care. I mean, reach out that way, or your school district. But yeah, we're on multiple platform
Okay.
or even on social media because I know sometimes people don't visit websites anymore. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So
Okay. A lot of ways to get in touch with you. What would you say is one of the bigger challenges you have with getting your message to the appropriate audience?
I think the biggest thing is just getting like noticed. We are small. I mean,
Yeah.
all of our people are we're 100% volunteers, so it's not like we have a big budget. I don't have anyone on dedicated to social media. I do a lot of it. I have a couple friends who are good at like designing stuff on Canva and everything, so they'll help out. But yeah, the
Okay.
biggest thing is getting it out there.
Okay. What have you been doing over the years? I mean, you've been doing this for a decade. You've been with Abby's for 2 years, I think you said.
Yeah.
So what is it in the last 2 years you've done to really bring your organization to the forefront? And what's so different about your organization than that they might experience with a different organization? How's that work for you? In the way you would explain to somebody.
So what I've been doing is besides contacting like our normal donors, businesses, stuff like that, I just throughout the year I'll start making lists as I see, oh, okay,
Okay.
I see this company wanting to help out with stuff, and I just start reaching out and everything like that. Um, I mean, the
Okay.
worst thing they're going to do is tell you no or not answer, but you never know because I reached out to like it was on a whim 2 years ago. I reached out to Fannie Mae's, and the ladies there was like, "Oh my gosh, we've been trying to look for something like this to do."
Oh, wow. So there's so much attention that needs to happen within this space, but there's not enough of it. So what do we need to do to kind of change the thought process that's out there and get more attention in this space for you? What would you recommend, or what would you say is the best way to overcome the biggest challenge that you face right now?
I think my biggest thing is just getting out there. And like one thing I just recently, probably about 6 months ago, I made business cards. And I was thinking, oh
Yeah,
my gosh, this is gonna be complicated to design. I'm becoming better at Canva. I use Canva, boom, got it printed through them and everything. And I've been handing out. I carry some in my purse. So like
perfect.
big things we do that kind of sets us apart since 100% volunteer and everything. And I want to maximize how much money we can like use to help the families and everything. I'll shop for deals. So after work, after my main job or on the weekends and stuff, I'll hunt deals um like some of the different stores are clearancing out their winter coats or winter boots and stuff. So I'm there and then you get somebody who looks at you like the first thing everyone assumes if you're buying a lot on clearance or on sale, you must be resale. And I go, nope, big like that's a common mistake and stuff. And I explain and now some of them like, oh, I'd like to know more. And before I would be like, oh, here, let me write down. Now I can just hand them a business card and
Sure. That's a great way to do it. I think one of the things that you made comment to, I want to make sure people get a connection to. 100% of your operation is volunteer. Is that correct?
yes, no one gets paid.
Okay. So you're doing 100% pass through. So every donation, every opportunity you have as far as a gift, it goes through your organization directly to either the family or the team that's in need of that. That is unique as from what I understand. Explain to me how that fits into the world of the nonprofits. Is that unique in that space, or how would you best explain that?
It is more unique. A lot of times some of the like smaller ones, they'll start up that way and then eventually they'll do that. But most of them, because I sit on several other nonprofit boards, a lot of them, yeah, they have paid staff some way, whether it's like your CEO or you have a couple people on staff. So it
Yeah.
kind of depends on what type of even nonprofit you're in. Some of them, yeah, you can get by and just have all volunteers. Um,
So let me explain how you said 38 families, 167 individual people were helped last year during the holidays. Does that include the teens that you've helped, or are those additional?
no, that's different. We helped over 50 just last
Okay,
year.
which again, pretty impressive. So, and I'm not doing this, I'm not asking this question for any purpose other than I want to clarify. 138 people, 50, so almost 200 people in the last year have been helped by your organization. How does that compare to some of the bigger nonprofits that do the same thing that you do?
Um, it's kind of getting up there with some of them.
Okay.
Uh, I do know like some of them typically help about like 3 to 400 that I
Wow.
have seen. So yeah, we're getting up there. And two with us because we do work a lot with the school districts directly and just the local communities. They'll like point out like, hey, we have this family. And I hate like a lot of the larger ones at times they'll have all this criteria you have to go through and we don't because like we had a one of the local schools, it's a preschool, and they do have kids there who are special education. Well, the kid dropped down from like 5 days a week to only going 3 days a week and everything. And they were so worried that we weren't going to help them. And I was like, does the family still need help? They're like, yes. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, the kid's still going to school. I get their situations. Like, so
No,
that's
it's
another.
good. Um, the reason why I ask, because this is a space I would imagine, much like myself, there's a lot of people in our local Northeast Ohio community that don't know this. They don't know this space or this world. And you're bringing to light a lot of things. One, I think people are going to be more intrigued about what you're doing and how they can help you. So hopefully that's the case. We get more awareness and attention to it. And secondly, they want to figure out how can I contribute? How can I help? Which is great. So if you were to think about what does Abbey want out of this? What is the dream for Abbey and this organization? What would you suggest, or what would you say is your dream for what you've got going on?
Oh, my biggest thing is bringing awareness to it because so many people think with a lot of the jobs being, there's so many jobs out there, everyone is fine and dandy, but there's a lot more people struggling. And a lot of times, a lot of these families, it's somebody recommending them and helping them out because a lot of them don't want to ask for help because they don't want to be looked down on.
Yeah, I can imagine that being a very difficult hurdle, right? There's a lot of people that are so proudful that they don't see the help that they need, or they know they need help, but they just don't want to ask somebody for it. So, how do you overcome that? Is there anything that you do within the organization to kind of reach those people that typically would not be reachable?
Yeah, so like where a lot of these places they have here's a list of our criteria and you fill out like you have to meet like a certain income, this and that. We don't have as much as that.
Okay.
We don't do if someone comes straight to us and go, "Hey, I need, $500." We're not writing a check to them or giving them like cash, but we will help with like items like the kids need, new clothes or, they need a winter coat and boots and stuff like that. So, I mean, a lot of the families are really thankful for what we do. And
Sure.
especially this year, I've gotten to meet some of the families over the years delivering some of the stuff, which has been awesome. And most of them, they're so thankful. They're like really to turn around and be like, "Oh, what can I do to help back?" Like, and stuff
Mm,
like that. And I'm always just like, "Hey, when you're able to come, you can, make a donation if you want or come help." So, um,
absolutely.
and a few who have, they've gotten on their feet and stuff, I ran into one and they're like, "Here's $50, go like buy some coats for some kids." So,
Wow.
and
Okay,
then
it's
this,
nice that they come back and they want to be a part of the circle, right?
yeah,
Because they understand, they're empathetic beyond anybody's ability to be empathetic, right? They understand this and
yeah.
they want to come back and help. That's wonderful. If you were to solve, if you had a magic wand, Abby, how would you solve this issue?
Ooh, that's a that's a good one. I mean, if I had a magic wand and could solve everything, I mean, it's just I think the biggest thing is making everybody aware and stuff. There's so much anymore. And I mean, we're all guilty of it, is living in like our little box and thinking,
Yeah.
oh, everything is fine because like this, everything's fine in our world. But so many people don't think about it. And a lot of people think about, oh, I got to help like all the people overseas and stuff. Not saying that we shouldn't, but people forget a
Yeah.
lot of things. We have people back home here who are suffering everything. It's just bringing awareness. And I think if we bring awareness, that will help solve a lot of the problems. And then people will see and be like, oh, okay, now I get why there's these organizations, why there's shelters, why there's all this. I think a lot of people just think, oh, they have to be like drugs or alcohol or don't want a job. And that's not the
Okay.
case. I one of the families we helped this year, she's a single mom. We found out she's working two jobs to try to
Mm.
make ends meet. Um, she's working in a car, but every day, what does she do? She walks the kids to school and every morning make sure they're there. She goes to all this PTA stuff, all the kids' events and everything. And it's just like,
She's doing
that's,
everything right.
yeah.
She's
But
doing what she should
unfortunately,
be doing as a mother and somebody trying to get ahead in life, and she just is in a bad spot. The
yeah.
ability of your organization to step in and provide a little bit of reprieve, a little bit of dignity, I think is valuable, and that's where people need to have a little bit better understanding of how their position in life affects others or could infect others or impact others. It would be the best way to say it, because we have a very interesting situation right now where people are very emotionally tied to something that they don't know about, or they have preconceived notions or a large level of prejudice about a situation. And what I think is very cool about what you've had the opportunity to explain to us today is it above and beyond the awareness of what we're talking about. It's now, okay, how do we go about helping? And then how do we go about solving this issue? So there's this nice little layer of, now that we know it's available or possible to be contributing, how do we help? And then how do we go about solving this, or at least doing something to improve the situation for all these people that are involved? I think it's interesting that we have such a different mindset about stuff until we're told about it, and we have an opportunity to learn. We have a very interesting space between our ears that allows us the capacity to do a great number of things. And as Americans right now, I think our ability to listen and be empathetic is a little bit different than it should be. That's just something I think we all could be better at. What are your thoughts?
I agree on that. I
Mm.
think, at the end of the day, I I realize with stuff that I've gone through in life that I haven't even gone through some of the hardest stuff. And that's why I love to give back. I mean, I have a multiply handicapped older brother. He had meningitis when he was 10 days old.
Oh,
So I learned I just learned that, things aren't always easy, but I also realized that I didn't always have I wasn't the worst off. So that's why I
yeah,
just love to help and give back, because just finding out hey, I made sure that these kids had Christmas, and
yeah.
the one letter I received, there was a 10-year-old. She believes in Christmas again because of what we did
Oh,
this year. It just meant a lot, reading that from the mother, going, everything you guys think about and stuff. Like, she loved Stitch. We had somebody go get Stitch stuff. I saw Stitch socks. So I was like, oh yeah, this kid needs Stitch socks and stuff. But
it's a
it's like
little.
things like that. And that's
Yeah.
why sometimes my my mom is my biggest helper with me, and I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, a kid that boom, and she'll know, I'm so meticulous about being like, okay, would the kid like this or that? Because I'm thinking
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm like, I want them to be excited and smile on Christmas, not be like, oh my gosh, they got me this. Ugh, Santa.
It sounds like you're quite mindful about what you're doing, which is a huge piece, and that takes a lot of energy, a lot of emotional energy. So how do you frame that between your professional job and then running this organization? How do you separate the two?
Um, I go to work and I do my work. I have a lot of my coworkers now who they have learned about what I've done. I haven't, I mean, if they ask, I tell them about
Mhm.
it and stuff, but I don't flaunt it at work. It's just one of those things everyone goes, oh yeah, do you know what Abby does in her spare time? And stuff.
Okay, now if we've learned anything today, Abby, it is you should be telling everybody, not in a brag fashion, but you should be telling everybody you possibly can about the wonderful stuff that you do for the situations that you're trying to help create better awareness for, assistance to, and a solutions for. So I think you should tell everybody you possibly can. If I were you, I'd be dropping business cards left and right. I'd throw those anywhere I possibly could because I want people to understand that nothing happens until you're aware of it. And once you're aware of it, if it hits you in the heart, then you should be able to react to it. And once you react to it, now you're engaged. Now that you have this level of engagement and satisfaction for doing something for others, it builds. And now you have this community that keeps wanting to contribute and being a part of something that's bigger than themselves, but yet also helps others rise up from where they used to be. And that to me is one of the coolest things anybody can do, whether it's in business or nonprofit, is serving others to benefit the whole abundant world that we live in. And that's where I think it's kind of cool is instead of worrying about what one person may think about one side of the or the other as far as questions or problems, let's solve the problems. Let's have conversations and really bring awareness out so we can do more about it. So that's a great part of this. If you were to think about one of the bigger lessons you've learned as you run this organization, what's the best lesson you think another business owner or nonprofit person would get a good feel for? Yep, that's a great lesson. I'm glad I learned that. What is it that you think is a good lesson that you've learned as you run your nonprofit? Excuse me.
You're not in it alone. Um, whether it's just going, I don't know. There's somebody who knows. And that's like what started mine. I sat on several, and I still sit on several other nonprofit boards, and it was like, well, I'm not sure how to do this. So it's just like, and I think with that is sometimes just realizing it's not wrong to ask somebody else and stuff, because they probably had to ask somebody themselves or learn. So I think the biggest thing is I have utilized other people in doing it, because yeah, I can do a lot, but I can do a lot more with others. And just realizing if you think it's impossible, it's not impossible. Like
That's a good one.
you can make it happen. Like for me starting it, I kept going, I want to and everything. And my husband just looked at me and he was like, you do you. I know you want to do it. And, he just like, do it. And it's just like sometimes you need that nudge.
Well, you need the ability to jump off a cliff knowing there's a parachute strapped to your back because you can do this. If you
Yes.
jump off, if you jump off without that comfort, confidence, and knowledge in your own self to get things done, it's really hard to make that leap. So, if anything, I think a good lesson, as you articulated, is yeah, trust others to help you. That's a really good thing because you're not in this alone. But your own self dedication to what you're trying to get accomplished is pivotal. If you don't have it, then why would you make that leap? So you made the leap
Yeah.
for a reason, right, Abby? You believe so wholeheartedly in what you're doing that you're making that jump because makes complete sense to you. And that's a true genuine heart as far as I'm concerned. So I thank you for all that.
Thank you.
Um, I want to ask you a final question.
Okay.
If you were to go back and in a time machine and sit down on a park bench next to an 18-year-old Abby, what would that conversation go like?
I would tell her that I always dreamed big, and I've always been ambitious, and just reaffirm that um you can do it, and you just
Hmm.
have to press on. Things won't be easy, but you can do it.
I love that. Press on. It's a really good mantra, right? And when you live in a world where you're not alone, you just need to grab a hold of the right people to help you. I think that's what makes a big difference. And I give you credit for making this jump again, but you did it with the knowledge of your own ambition and drive. But you also have a secure blanket or security blanket of people that are willing to help you. And in your space and what you're doing, I think it's commendable that not only have you found people that help you, but you're reaching out and helping others. So I give you tons of credit. As we finish this up for a conversation, all the information that you need to get in touch with Abby is going to be in the description down below. But Abby, I'll give you the last couple minutes here. Tell the people what it is that you want them to know and how is the best way they can help.
I mean, just realizing you never know what somebody else is going through
Mm.
and stuff like that. It could be you're looking at somebody right in front of you in the grocery line, and they're like, oh, I got to put this back or that back. It might not be because, they're irresponsible with spending money. It's because things are tight for them
Good
and
point.
stuff. There's a lot of people who work 2, 3 jobs and they still can't make ends meet because just the way
Mhm.
things are. And that you can help in simple ways. It can be as easy as you might, like somebody has done, pay it forward, pay for that person behind you in the drive through their coffee, or help somebody out like that. If you want to specifically like help with us, you can get in contact. We always need volunteers, especially to help with wrapping. When you have to wrap 167 individual their presents and they just don't get one or two, yeah, it adds up. And
What kind of skill level are you anticipating when somebody volunteers for a wrapping position? Because
I mean, as long as you can semi wrap, like if you're gonna wrap yourself more than that, maybe not, but we have other things like help bagging up the presents for the
okay,
kids, putting labels on, stuff like that. So there's a lot more than just straight wrapping. um I
okay,
have an excellent wrapper for me. My mother-in-law, she loves doing it, and she's quick and like always has like the perfect packages. I'm always like jealous of that. I'm like, I wish I could do that. I rep pretty decently, but yeah, as long as it doesn't look like, a cat shredded it, we're pretty good. Because I mean, you
Good.
think about the kids they rip off the wrapping
They're
paper and
gonna,
like
yeah, they're ripping it open no matter what. So that's good.
yeah, so we
Uh,
always need help with wrapping. Always looking for like different donation stuff. So I this year I'm going to start posting like here are specific things we need as we get closer
okay.
to the time of the year we get families. We post things we know, something easy. We have an Amazon wish list, which I included the link
Good.
and stuff. So it can be simple. Like I know some people they don't have the ability to really go out and everything. You can just sit there and buy. We have different things. We have things right now that we will stock up for it's called toy giveaway. So we do give toys out to the
Oh,
different
nice.
school districts that they will hand. We gave out over 600 toys last year. So these are toys that the like teachers know maybe this kid won't really get anything for Christmas or something like that. So they
Yeah.
will get that. So we're even helping more. So there's stuff like that. We'll have specific items on there as we get the families and they request stuff. So that's something simple and it gets shipped directly to us. So you don't even have to
Oh,
go
nice.
anywhere.
Yeah. Wasn't even
And
thinking
you
of that,
can,
but that makes
and if
sense.
you want to remain anonymous, we've had anonymous donors. So you don't even have to put your name with it. So you could put like some people put Santa Claus on there when they send it. So
Perfect.
and
Well,
stuff like
I don't necessarily want to say my rapping skills are up near Mrs. Claus level, but I'd be happy to come visit and do some rapping when it comes time, okay?
okay, awesome. I'll let
I'd
you
love to
know.
do that. I'd love to do that. All right. Thank you, Abby, for being on the show. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody gets a chance to at least raise your own awareness about the situations that are out there and what Abby and her team are doing to bring generosity and empathy to those that need it. So thank you very much, Abby, for being a part of that and joining us today on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks for
All right,
having
well,
me.
my pleasure. We'll see everybody on the next episode.